G'day guys, and welcome back to my channel. I really hope everyone's doing well across the world with this nonsense virus coming to an end. People back on the streets walking around with a smile on their face and not crossing the street when we are sharing the same footpath, finally. But regardless, let's get into today's video. And today I wanted to take a look at a few World's Fair sites in the United States. So let's get into it. Here on screen is the so-called first American exhibition of 1853, and it was held in New York. Newly sworn President Franklin Pierce in attendance. The fair was seen by over 1 million visitors before it closed on November 14th, 1854. The fair featured its own glass and iron exhibition building, the New York Crystal Palace, directly inspired by London's Crystal Palace. And that is the sentence that caught my eye. First of all, I'd never heard of this building, the New York Crystal Palace, and I'd never even heard really anyone bring it up before. And I've just been researching this morning, taking a look at a few of these sites. As I've looked into the Great Exhibition briefly, I feel that Campbell and Martin did a great video interview where they both delved into this building, one of the most spectacular buildings ever, 1,851 square feet, and also stone foundation, cast iron, sheet glass, sacred geometry, flags and such. But we all know these flagpoles were not originally flagpoles, and if you don't, you need to keep investigating down this rabbit hole. So, not that this video was going to be about this building, but this building inspired so many buildings. I've already had two on my channel, the Palais Volksflit, and obviously now the New York Crystal Palace. Both are said to have been directly inspired by this one from 1851. I mean, it's a nice story to assume that we constructed this within a year. If anything, we renovated it for 1 year. These trees do not take 1 year. And to build a construction like this, trees like this cannot be in the way. These root systems to this tree would go well past the entrance to this building, well past. And once you cut a tree's root systems, an older tree like this, it's going to die, I can promise you. I did do a fair bit of gardening, and I've killed a tree by a lot less, let me tell you. And even on the coin, the trees are even on the coin. I didn't notice that before. I'm not going to read all this nonsense. A telescope in 1851. Jeez. So I thought today we would just take a relaxed stroll through America's World's Fair history, starting with the first American exposition. It was called the Exhibition of the Industry of All Nations. The Industry of All Nations. Interesting. Why don't we read a little bit about it? The Exhibition of the Industry of All Nations was a World's Fair held in 1853 in what is now Bryant Park in New York. In the wake of the highly successful 1851 Great Exhibition in London, it must have been one of the most eye-opening things people had ever seen, the Great Exhibition of London, because everyone that went there who had any scrape of architectural creativity in them, instantly took their ass home to build their own crystal palace. So, as if it was easy and you could just do it in your spare time. But I think we're being fed a lot of bullshit, guys. I don't believe these narratives. I can't assume that this culture of people built these structures. I'm not saying that you can't build a building in rags, but you can't build a building in rags. Look at the size of this tower. It's 100 meters tall in 1853, and it's just for observing the fair. How many Easter shows, or I mean, in Australia we have the Easter show every year. It's a big event. It's probably the closest thing we have to a World's Fair in Australia. But predominantly it's known for show bags. Back then, you could go look at art in a building that was built within a year. Sorry, planned and built within a year by foreigners, not Americans. So, I don't know. To me, there's language gaps, there's the lack of resources, the lack of skill. Perhaps the manpower is there, but why did the manpower not build roads? It's New York City, guys. Why isn't there a road to this? If you can build a building like this, you can build a cobblestone road, you can slap down some mortar and call that a road, but to have dust out the front. So all this dust is being walked inside, I guess, and I'm not a clean freak by any means, but I'd be spewing. So when I first realized that, you know, I've done 2 videos on World's Fairs, and the 2 World's Fairs in America that I feel are the most important and perhaps definitely capital cities of the old world. And that was Louisiana and Chicago. And you can check my channel for videos on those 2 sites. And I did do a video sort of around the Palais Volksflit, which is also another crystal palace. There is a video on my channel, Most Magnificent Buildings That Don't Exist. And I lost my train of thought. Oh yes, the Louisville World's Fair. Well, actually this is not, this is the Southern Exposition. So each state almost had quite a few World's Fairs, and as you go down the list, the information gets less and less, like London here, the Universal Exposition. Why don't we take a look at that? So this is, here's an example of how much information you can find on a leading country that has recorded all fact and fiction from the earliest centuries, from the the 9th century. They've been recording history, but don't worry about the World's Fair. Why? Because they're reusing inherited sites. Everyone has a great grandparent that was an orphan, and if you don't, that's probably because you don't know your ancestral history. But all of us share the same history, which it's been taken from us. And we've been taught a history by the victors, and to the victors go the spoil. You will never find information regarding the losers. And just you got to remember that each time there was a loss, an entire family or story and history has been erased. We very happily forget that quite frequently. It's fine to forget people that have wronged us, but when we're inheriting and stealing these buildings and claiming them for ourselves, it's a different story. And we've got to understand that we are not the first people, we are not the first advanced civilization this earth has seen. And I'm ranting, so we'll move on. And I felt that after the first American, I wanted to know more about the American story. And it brought me to the Centennial Exposition, which was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from May 10th, 1876. Now, this is apparently the official World's Fair of the United States, the first official World's Fair. So that wasn't until 1876. It was called the International Exhibition of Arts, Manufacturers and Products of the Soil and Mine. There's terrible names. Whoever named these need to be fired instantly. It was held in Fairmount Park along the Schuylkill River on fairgrounds designed by Herman J. Schwartzman. I've seen that name before many times. And obviously an architect. This one is German born. So for some reason a lot of Germans wanted to make their way to America. Now the London Exposition was in 1851 in mainland England. Just a very short stone's throw away from France, don't forget that. So a very close connection to Europe, very easily attainable, very easily reached, in other words. Now let's try and find the attendance. I know I saw it here somewhere. We'll read a little bit about it. A special building nicknamed the Crystal Palace, or the Great Shalimar, was built to house the show. It was designed by Joseph Paxton with support from structural engineer Charles Fox, who was an English civil engineer and contractor. His work focused on railways, railway stations and bridges. And then he built one of the greatest buildings the world has ever seen, and been replicating ever since. I don't know how many railroad workers built. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the building was architecturally adventurous. Yeah, for a railroad building. I can't say the word railroad. Adventurous, drawing on Paxton's experience designing greenhouses. Okay. It took a form of a massive glass house, 454 feet wide. It was constructed from cast iron, glass, made almost exclusively in Birmingham. Here we go. Information. Oh, that's where it stops. So before I sign off, I just want to address something that I brought up earlier this week, and it's got to do with some anomalous things going on with my channel, and I bet hundreds of thousands of other channels trying to release truth to us, the people. So about a week ago I posted that I was losing subscribers, and as you can see here, you're not going to see any signs of that in the official page, 1.57. But as of a week ago, I have been losing subscribers, 100 people at a time, for 1 week. And usually I am gaining maybe 5 to 10 friends a day. And as you can see here, my current subscribers is 1,453. I've lost every single one of those subscribers that you saw on my main page. Although the official story will tell you that I have this many, when it comes to the crunch, they're lying. And I knew this was coming, and I'm ashamed to admit that it's happening already on a channel or medium that we've all loved for so long. But this is the end of free speech, guys. I'm such a small fish in this huge pond, but I'm being targeted and singled out. So it may not seem much, but this number here is dropping by the day. I'm losing nearly 25 to 50 subscribers a day for no fault but my own. For the last 3 months I've been gaining 5 to 10, and every morning I wake up within the last week within losing 25 to 50 new subscribers. Within those stats I also lose hours viewed of my channel. So each time YouTube deletes another subscriber, I lose the hours or minutes by that particular subscriber viewed on my channel, as if they never exist. This is a new form of suppression of information, and I tell you right now that this is not going to stop us, YouTube. We are not going to bend for your satisfaction. Here is proof that just because I eliminated the hashtag flat earth from all my videos, they all gained around 200 views extra from refreshing. My last video, not only does it not show the thumbnail that I have so meticulously created for every video that I've ever made, it's ignoring my demands on what I want from my channel. It's also telling me what I can and can't post, and it's also robbing me of subscribers that I earned. And I'm not trying to be superficial or anything like this. I'm just trying to put it out there that YouTube will not allow us to grow anymore. So YouTube, if you're listening, you can delete all my subscribers if you like, carry on, but I'm not going to stop, and neither is any of my peers. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. My name's Phil, and this is TARTARIAN Zephyr. Have a nice rest of your day or evening, and I'll catch you on the next video. See ya.